As we said, we had some big and very disturbing news about the housing market, how Americans are feeling about the housing market right now. Let's put this up on the screen from Gallup. You now have views of the U.S. housing market reaching new depths. A new low in the U.S. say it is a good time to buy a house. Leave this up on the screen for a little bit, just so people can take in the trend here. You know, back in 1980, you had about 50% of people who said, a little bit more than 50%, a majority saying, okay, it's a good time to buy a house. That continues to go up until right about the time that you have the financial crash. It dips down to about 50%. Then after the financial crash around 2010, things pick back up. And now you've been on a basically consistent decline over the past decade, reaching a new low now where only 21% of Americans feel like it's a decent time to go out and buy a house. 78% say it is a bad time to buy a house. Now, it will be no surprise to viewers of this program why that is. You have the Federal Reserve hiking interest rates that has had a dramatic impact on mortgage interest rates that has made already unaffordable housing even more wildly unaffordable. Now, as home prices have just started to fall around the country, you've got a median of $436,000 is the median home price in 2023. And you do have fewer Americans expecting home values in their area to rise in the coming year. So it's not that prices are like continuing to skyrocket, but because of mortgage rates, it's so wildly unaffordable. And of course, housing prices have been going up and up and up and up. Even before we started this whole conversation about inflation, inflation within housing, healthcare, and education has been out of control for years. So this basic building block of middle-class stability has become out of reach for most people who are, you know, even college-educated professionals who are earning decent salaries. If they live in a major metro area, they're screwed. If they don't have a cash handout from mommy and daddy to put down, you know, major cash up front, they're screwed, and they've only become more screwed from the mortgage interest rates.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that the mortgage interest is the biggest problem in terms of affordability because, you know, what people do is they're saving up, they look at their down payment and they think, okay, great, I can make this happen. And then they go and they play with one of those tools and they're like, wait, so 2 years ago, definitely I could have made that happen. But now I can't because the interest payments are sky high. And then even if you can afford the interest, you're like, do I really want to be paying more than half my pay, or do I really want to be paying so many thousands of dollars per year to the bank? And sure, you know, it's tax deductible and all of that. But, you know, why would you spend, why throw away $1 so that you can save 25 cents or whatever whenever it comes to your taxes? And that's always one of the, like, stupidest ways that people can think about it. The other one, as I pointed to here, is that when you have a decrease in the housing market and in views of the housing market, it restricts the further supply of housing because home builders and new homes, of which we are desperately in need of. We really do need a lot of new housing. And that is a whole other conversation about how you balance neighborhoods and all that other stuff, which I'm sympathetic to, you know, to some respect. But the question is like, at the very least, the ones that are getting built need to continue. Many home builders are simply dropping their projects or putting them on pause because they, A, cannot afford the building materials, and B, they do not feel that they will be able to sell at their current rate. Or, and we have this right here, let's put this up there on the screen, the housing market is now so unaffordable, builders say, quote, they have no choice but to build smaller homes. Now, again, that's not necessarily a bad thing because in some cases we kind of do need some more starter home inventory because some people, you know, not everybody has to buy a 4,000 square foot house. I'm not really sure where this came from, but let's put that aside. The idea, though, is that by building smaller, one of the things that they're finding is that it's going to just deeply cut into their profit margin, which would only mean that they will continue to build less and less, or they may just they may abandon the project altogether. So there's just like all within the chain of custody, I guess, of all this is just, it's just a really bad outlook. We'll have less housing and then we'll only have even more expensive payments.
Yeah. And one of the problems too is people who already own a home who might have been interested in moving, which would open up their house to be sold and, you know, some new buyer to be able to come in. they don't want to move because they have really low mortgage interest rate. They don't want to have to take out a new mortgage that's going to have a much higher interest rate. It makes no sense because they're not going to be able to afford even the house that they already have, given the way that mortgage interest rates have gone up. Now, they have come down a little bit from their peak, but is still significantly higher than where it was before. And as you're referring to, Saagar, in terms of the builders, it's kind of a worst of all worlds for them because on the one hand, inflation has made materials very expensive for them in terms of building. On the other hand, even though the Fed has been hiking rates, it hasn't combated that inflation in terms of their materials and their expenses, but it has jacked up also their borrowing costs. So that's an issue for them as well. One of the things that, frankly, we warned about very early in the Federal Reserve program of hiking interest rates, because it has constrained supply of housing and it has made the housing situation even that much more difficult. So you have low housing stock, you don't have enough homes, you certainly don't have enough affordable homes. You have decades of prices going up and up and up, making housing unaffordable to start with. Then you layer on top of that the mortgage interest that is just absolutely killing people. And that's how you come to this place where so few Americans feel that it is a decent time to buy a house. Record low, feeling like it's a decent time to buy a house. And, we talk a lot about the housing market here. And the reason we do is because it is so central to building basic wealth and prosperity. I mean, that is the real divide increasingly in America, is between asset owners, in particular homeowners, and people who do not own assets and do not own wealth. And as Saagar, you covered in your monologue the other day, those problems are only going to get worse as boomers hand down their inheritances to their, lucky children. There's going to be a growing divide between those who can ever dream of getting onto the, home ownership ladder versus those who are going to be, listen, if you love renting and that's your thing, I'm not there's no judgment here whatsoever. But a lot of people want to have a home, have that stability, be able to build wealth through it. And it is increasingly impossible for people to be able to do that. Last piece with regard to housing, we just to show you how much the mortgage rates here matter, put this up on the screen from Politico. They had a piece a little while ago that said how the Fed's rate hikes helped drive up mortgage payments. You can see the average monthly mortgage payment for a typical U.S. home has grown 50% since January 31, 2022. So basically in a year, the average monthly mortgage payment has gone up by 50%. Just let that soak in. And so that's why people who already have a home and have a lower mortgage interest rate, they're definitely not interested in selling if they can at all avoid it. They want to stay put until things come back down. If you're trying to get into the market, this has made it so that what you're able to obtain is going to be so much less than what it was before. And in some cases, in many cases, it's just going to be completely off the table altogether.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's why that graphic is just so poignant about the 50% increase over 2 years. And the really sad part is you probably just won't ever go back. I saw a graphic going around that if you were able to get a less than 2% or 2.5% interest rate on your mortgage, it may be the single best trade that you will ever make in your entire life.
Wow.
Just through, fortuitous circumstances. For those who did it, God bless you. Although I guess you can't really leave. But for those who didn't,
if you like your house, you'll be there forever.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you like it because you're not leaving. But for those who missed out on that, just as a matter of circumstance, it's still not fair. So we got to fix it somehow.
Yeah,
but
I'm kind of kicking myself because I started the process of refinancing my mortgage at the time when it was at its lowest.
Yes.
And then I dropped the ball and didn't get my shit together, and then the rates started going up.
I have a friend who's got a 1.9.
Good job, Krystal.
Yeah, 1.9. I'm just
wow.
like, wow, man. Yeah, you lucked out. So good for him.
Yes, indeed. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.